What's up, YouTube? Prodigal son. And I found this. I found this to be a good thing and a bad thing. It's not a good thing. Just a good thing that we called this out for. I know personally, I called it out for 12 years or more, 13. I know other people that have been calling it out for way longer than that. And what were we always called every time we tried to tell somebody the truth? What was that name? I don't know, there was a few of them, like conspiracy theorist, moron, idiot. You can go down the list of, all the names that you can only imagine that I've been called. So let's go over this real quick. Sun blockers. U.S. scientists aim to cool the Earth by reflecting sunlight into space. Wow. You mean just like we tried to tell everybody that they were doing? And the evidence was right in everybody's face. All they had to do was look up. I mean, you could even see it in TV shows as they're doing a TV show, recording it, filming it. There's planes literally laying down strips through the sky. You know how many people lost their YouTube channels over this? I lost a lot of friends, or what I thought were friends, and family didn't want to hear about it. Nobody really wanted to hear about it. But yet here we are. The United States wants to cool the Earth by reflecting sunlight back into space. Don't you love how they have the climate now thing in the background there, just so you don't forget? The plan, which involves pumping sun-blocking particles into the upper atmosphere, is still in the early research phase. Let me say that that's a lie. This isn't early. They've been doing this for quite some time. If you have any doubt, go look up, Project Popeye? Where they had used Agent Orange and whatnot over in Vietnam, back then in the 60s, 70s. That's how this technology kind of came about. They even knew about it in the 30s when they would spray farms with those little prop planes, and they would have a little tank of fertilizer or whatever on the back, and that just escalated quickly. And so this is not early research phase. Advocates claim it could reduce the devastating impacts of climate change and even refreeze the poles. But critics argue that it has unknown health impacts for humans. You mean like the stuff we've been reporting that's in it? Like barium, strontium, aluminum, polymer fibers. They're finding that the human body has massive amounts of microplastics in it, in its intestines. Gee, I wonder how that got there. Part of it is also that they feed pigs. You know how they tell us we recycle to save the planet? No, it just gets ground up into a fine dust, powder, and they feed it to pigs. It's called garbage feeding, and it's illegal in, I believe, 27 states. So, if you believe you're a recycler that's saving the planet, think again. So, how would the idea work? And will it ever be implemented? Oh my gosh, these people are so unreal. They can't even admit that this is already going on. This is how disgusting these people are. And that's how dumb they think all of us are. And that should offend anyone that's listening to this. Whether you believe what I'm saying or not, they believe you're an idiot. And that you'll never figure any of this out. That's why they make people like me look like crazies, because then you don't believe anything I have to say. And they keep on with their narrative. It's just like I was saying yesterday in the YouTube video about climate change and how the World Economic Forum owns the science on climate change, and you must believe their science or else. So all this oil shortage, the slowing down of oil production and the push to electric cars, this is all part of an agenda, nothing more. They just want to have total control over the people. And I'm a car guy, so I know all about this. And if you have any kind of gasoline or diesel car, normal car, you can drive and drive and drive and drive and drive forever as long as there's gas. But if you have an electric car, well, there we go. We're already limited on how far we can drive, and then how long it takes to recharge, and then how much longer can we drive. And then they can take over the software, or they already have control over the software. So if they just want to say, no, we don't think you should be leaving today, we want you to stay home all day. No, you can't go to the grocery store or do anything to the effect. Stay home in your little pen and be a good little animal. The White House is coordinating a 5-year research plan to assess how solar interventions could help fight climate change. Researchers will look at a number of different ways to block out the sun. Oh, great! Even more possibilities for them to destroy the earth. Because that stuff that's been sprayed, yeah, it's toxic to everything living. I just said this yesterday in a video too. I cut a lot of wood because I have a fireplace and I choose to heat my house with wood when I have the opportunity. And you literally can walk out to the forest and just push a tree over. Not every tree, but a lot. And if you live in a wilderness area where there are a lot of trees and you're doubting anything I'm saying, next time you're driving through a forested area, with trees on one side or the other or both, just look at the side of the hill. Look how many dead fallen trees are just laying around in the forest. Trust me, I've spent most of my life in the forest, whether it's four-wheeling or just hiking or whatever. This is insane. The world's bug population has massively decreased. Animals are dying off in massive numbers. Why do you think that is? What, because you drive a car? No, I don't believe that, or this would have already happened. This is all about bringing in a new world order and destroying the old one. And you're seeing the destruction of the old order. We have the one world religion, which I'm going to cover here soon. So let me get on with this so I can make another one. Researchers will look, okay, we got that. These include marine cloud brightening, making clouds brighter so that they reflect solar rays, and cirrus cloud thinning, a technique that eliminates clouds that absorb warming infrared radiation. But the most controversial technique is stratospheric aerosol injection, or other words, the things that we've been calling them for years, chemtrails. I have to be careful because even though the White House has admitted to doing this and funding it, they'll still probably nail me for talking about it because that's what they do. But in this process, planes would spray an aerosol like sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere. I mean, that sounds perfectly normal already. The midst of particles would reflect the sun back upwards, shading the earth. Yeah, because it's not like we need sunlight to grow crops or, the million other reasons we need sunlight. The method has already worked, albeit accidentally. Now, this is the truth. When Mount Pinatubo, I'm sure I murdered that, in the Philippines erupted in 91, it released thousands of tons of sulfur dioxide. The global temperature temporarily dropped a half a degree Celsius. In September, researchers at Yale University argued that the injection method could hypothetically refreeze the poles. In a report published in Environmental Research Communications, they outlined a hypothetical plan to turn the global thermostat. How many times has man tried to fix something and it's completely backfired? I'm not going to get into it because I don't have enough time, but I could just go down the frickin' list. If their plan was implemented, 125 high-flying jets would periodically spray the particles into the atmosphere at latitudes of 60 degrees north and south, roughly around northern Alaska and the southern tip of Patagonia. The particles would slowly drift towards the poles, cooling the Earth by 2 degrees Celsius. The authors suggest that there is a potential global benefit in their plan, which would cost around $11 billion. Jeez. The amount of money these people waste is mind-boggling. I mean, for the amount of money we wasted on stupidity, we could have fed the planet, fixed the planet, and made it better for the next 1,000 years. There is a widespread and sensible trepidation about deploying aerosols to cool the planet. Liar, you've already done it. But if the risk-benefit equation were to pay off anywhere, it would be at the poles. The plan poses other potential problems. It would require 175,000 particle sprayer flights per year, which would release millions of tons of greenhouse gases into the air, which they've already been doing for years. To address climate change, the world must rapidly reduce its reliance on fossil fuels, Smith warns. Don't you think that they knew this 40 or 50 years ago? Don't you think that this was all, this was like common knowledge that they were going to eventually do this? I mean, this is insane. You're telling me they're just now getting the super smart people with all the scientific equipment and all these colleges and laboratories, and they couldn't figure this out sooner? Well, and also, don't you think it's strange that if we were in such a desperate need to stop all this, that we would? Like, obviously, if we're going to die in 10 years and we don't stop driving cars, wouldn't we just shut the entire world down, no matter what the risk? Because if we're going to die because we're driving cars, then we better just stop and figure out a way around this. Not driving cars anymore. But no, they don't do that. They want to keep the money rolling in. They want to keep making that money on oil, but trying to convince you otherwise that you're guilty for doing what you're doing. To address climate change, the world must rapidly reduce its reliance on fossil fuels. But we don't see that happening. Game-changing through this could be a rapidly warming world. Stratospheric aerosol injections merely treat a symptom of climate change and not the underlying disease. He says it's aspirin, not penicillin. It's not a substitute for decarbonization. Well, let's think about this, and then I'm shutting up. We are all carbon-based. We are made of carbon. And what comes out of a diesel truck, that black, horrible, gross, look at that black smoke. Well, that's just carbon. And what the trees do to make oxygen, they eat carbon. Wow! Now that's some science. Oh, don't talk about that. I'm not allowed to bring that up. You're going to let these people destroy you and your family's futures if you let them get away with this.